Errol Graham was a 57-year-old granddad and a former amateur footballer. When bailiffs came to evict him, they found his emaciated body in a freezing flat. No gas, no electricity, no food. Only 2 tins of fish, 4 years out of date, remained. He weighed just 4.5 stone. A coroner ruled his death as starvation. Errol suffered from severe social anxiety. The DWP knew this and still cut off his only source of income. As his daughter-in-law said, he would still be alive. He'd be ill, but he'd still be alive. His death was not a tragic exception. It was a political consequence. In 2017, Jodie Whiting took her own life after missing a fit-for-work test while she was hospitalised. Stephen Smith was denied benefits despite being gravely ill. He died in 2019. These aren't just names, they are the human costs of decisions made in this place. Decisions that, according to Sir Michael Marmot's research, contributed to over 1 million premature deaths in England between 2011 and the pandemic, driven by poverty and austerity. And today, the government presses ahead with more of the same. Clause 2 of this bill will slash the universal credit health element, the limited capability for work and work-related activity component, from £97 to just £50 a week. By 2030, that's a £3,000 annual cut for over 750,000 disabled people. And these are not people waiting for an assessment, they are people the DWP has already found too ill to work, people who can't feed themselves, people who live with degenerative illnesses, people who experience daily pain, confusion and incontinence. And we are supposed to believe that this is about helping them into employment. Even the government's own figures show that fewer than 1 in 10 new claimants will be protected by the so-called severe conditions criteria. And charities like Scope, Z2K, the MS Society and Inclusion London have made this clear. This clause will exclude huge swathes of severely disabled people, especially those with fluctuating or progressive conditions like multiple sclerosis, bipolar disorder and Parkinson's. Why? Because to qualify, your condition, according to the bill on paper, must affect you constantly, not severely, not overwhelmingly, but constantly. As Scope put it, it feels like it's been designed to cut support, not to support people. And let's not forget the requirement for an NHS diagnosis in the middle of an NHS backlog crisis. That excludes people with neurodivergent conditions and others relying on private or social care support. This is a deliberate narrowing of the safety net. The result, a 2-tier system that punishes people for trying to work, for having variable symptoms, or for falling through the cracks of bureaucracy. Meanwhile, what's the economic justification? Well, there isn't one. As a share of GDP, working age benefits have not risen since 2015. Other countries such as France, New Zealand and Australia invest more in their disabled citizens. And yes, we do have alternatives. A 2% tax on extreme wealth. Just 50 families in this country own more wealth than half the UK population. And 3/4 of the public, according to YouGov, support a 2% tax on those with wealth more than £10 million. Yet this government will not tax the super rich. Instead, they are choosing to take from those with arthritis, cancer and chronic pain. Just can't decide how much suffering to inflict. And while they squeeze the most vulnerable, they found billions for war, billions to raise defence spending, to back endless foreign interventions, money for war but not the poor. Mr. Chair, the truth is this. Westminster is broken, but the real crisis is deeper. This is a government not out of touch, but also morally bankrupt. It works for billionaires and big business while turning its back on disabled people. It holds its summer receptions at MasterCard headquarters while disabled people are pushed to food banks. It impoverishes the sick and the elderly to satisfy spreadsheets and then dares to speak of tough choices. But the public see through this. 81% of voters believe that disabled people should receive support for basic living costs. That is not a niche opinion, that is mainstream Britain. And disabled organisations from DPAC to Disability Rights UK are united in their opposition to Clause 2, because if this cut passes, the consequences will be felt everywhere, especially in our constituency surgeries. The emails, the letters, the desperation, the suffering, all of it avoidable. Mr. Chair, I voted to protect winter fuel payments. I do it again. I voted to scrap the 2-child benefit cap. I would do it again. And I will be voting against these cuts tonight because this isn't just about benefits, it's about the country we want to be. One that protects the vulnerable or punishes them. I know which side I stand on, and I know that I speak for millions across the country when I say we are not going to take this anymore. The two-party stitch-up is finished, there is an alternative, and we will be offering it. Thank you.